Welcome back to Stelgim Plays the Dwarves episode 12, I believe. I actually wonder if I should go up here. But I have to kill the orc hordes first. The one here is gone. Actually, Mifurdania is gone as well. Let's go to the refugee camp. Click, click. I clicked. There we go.
You reach a large camp with dozens of humans, countless campfires, and several wagons in and around the camp. You notice traders and guardsmen with Mifurdania's coat of arms, but also others that you don't know.
Enter the camp.
You decide to take a look around the camp. All in all, the refugees are in bad shape, and you can't even see the slightest glimmer of hope in most of their eyes.
Ha! I know you, dwarf. You were in Mifurdania. Ran off with your friends when things got tricky, eh? You're not such great orc killers, or you wouldn't have left Mifurdania to its fate.
I killed a lot.
We are dwarves, not gods. We did our best. No one could have saved Mifurdania.
The fatigue that had disappeared from the man's face for a moment returns.
I hated that city with its wretched stench of fish. It's just so many dead.
How many managed to escape?
I can see some guardsmen from Mifurdania here too. How did you escape?
The authorities ordered the guards to protect the city to the very last man, while they, the high society, made off unnoticed. When the guards and the townspeople saw them go, they dropped their weapons and ran. The quickest made it. Just a few dozen.
A few dozen. How many people could you have saved if you'd stayed? On the other hand, how many will die if you don't stop nod on?
We're headed to the old dwarf stronghold on the Red Range. Do you know the way?
You're going to travel through Snowdale so soon after winter? Good luck. And what are you hoping to find? There aren't any dwarves left in the mountains, I'm telling you.
We'll see. What about the old trading route?
The trader shrugs his shoulders.
Head west. There is only one road that leads into the mountains. If you've got a death wish, then you're heading the right way.
You're heading south. I wish you luck.
You don't think these people have much of a chance of survival, and a last look at the trader's face reveals that he doesn't either.
Yeah, they're basically dead. Well, they are coming for me, I'm guessing.
You spend the night protected from the wind in a ruin, and are sitting around a campfire as the topic of your new companion's performance on the stage comes up.
Sleight of hand, speed, alchemy, and makeup can have an incredible effect. Namora transformed herself into an elf using the latter.
I also noticed your weapons, Namora. I've never seen such swords before.
Their names are Crescent and Sunbeam. I designed them myself. It took a long time until I found a smith who was able to make them.
She looks like a pointy ear too. Nature hasn't been kind to her.
For this absent-minded remark, Boindil receives evil looks from Namora and grins from the men.
Perhaps I really am an elf, and will bring you a nightmare in your sleep tonight. Don't be surprised if you wake up screaming.
For a moment, it seems as though she has merged with the darkness, but when you blink, everything is back to normal.
By the gods, isn't she magnificent in her role?
There is no denying what Rodario says.
Alright, if we go here, I'll get cashed by the orc horde.
You are walking past an inconspicuous copse as Namora suddenly stops on the spot.
Wait! We are not alone. Someone is watching us.
A trap?
This is, after this sequence, is where I stopped last time, before the audio files crashed.
Die, scum!
What are you doing? Why are you attacking us? We're dwarves too. We're on the same side.
I see honest dwarves here, but they are accompanied by scum. I will free you of it!
Oh, really? And what are you going to do on your own against 8?
You, come here.
What?
Ugh.
Brother, what are you doing?
Boindle, what's wrong? Come to your senses!
It's no use. They belong to me. Now die, scum.
Basically, she took the best warriors. Now, let's see here. I guess I could have this one. You can have that, yeah, sure. It doesn't really matter if you have anything, because you're stupid. You can have this, I guess. You, on the other hand, can have this. Because you have some good attacks, actually. Oh, he shouldn't have that one. An equip. It's auto attack. Which might be good to have. Yeah, let's go for that one. Okay, you are the best choice we have. Go up there. Go for this one.
Already done it.
Oh, what?
Yeah?
Huh?
Well,
Yes, soon!
There we
Just a
go.
minute.
What's up?
And you?
Danger! Your comrade is in danger!
That's two of them less. Go for this one.
what is it?
Elf. Where is she? What? She's there? I can't even see her.
Welcome to the future!
Yes?
Yeah, I couldn't even see her.
Yes?
Oh, he's dead. I'm sorry, Radoressing something.
Damn it! How many more of them are there?
Yes, soon.
Well,
Understood.
Expecting
Yes.
this.
Can
Just
you
a
do it?
minute.
yes?
Yes, soon.
Understood.
I need some assistance.
Good night.
There we go. Well, I don't think they died, but that's a lot of blood. This victim music is the
No
best.
sooner does the unknown dwarf fall unconscious to the floor than
Ooh,
her
we have
control
Bounter.
of your comrades disappears. You fetter and gag her until you know more about her sinister powers.
That was, I hope I didn't hurt you, Scholar.
It was as if in a dream, but at the same time, it wasn't. I heard her voice in my head, and although I knew better, I only saw orcs attacking me. You were the enemy.
Boindil goes over to the shackled dwarf and kicks her gently with his boot.
This is never a child of the smith, even if she looks like one. Those gifts. By Fracas, there is something evil at work.
You kneel in front of the dwarf and press your axe against her throat.
My name is Tungdil. If I remove your gag, will you answer some questions?
The captive nods, and you pull the gag out of her mouth.
Geralda is my name. It would seem I underestimated you.
You sure did.
You said something about scum when you attacked us. Has Namora done anything to harm you?
Not her, but her kind. Alpha.
She is a human. She only acts at being an elf in theatre.
In the theatre?
For the first time, Geralda looks at Namora without a hateful expression.
She must die.
Your powers, I've never heard of anything like it.
Neither have I. I haven't had them for long. When I try to remember, all I see is black mist, and I taste iron and mud, and there's an elf who... Ugh.
Did the Alpha give you these powers?
When I try to remember, it hurts, like needles sticking into my head. I am Geralda Bloodstone. I was...
Oh god.
Where have you come from and what brings you to Weyurn?
I was on my way to the Free Folk. They are said to live in the middle of Girdlegard, without kingdoms or their laws.
The Free Folk? You mean dwarves?
Yes, dwarves who have left their kingdoms, voluntarily or otherwise. Not everyone has a place in their kingdom.
You instinctively think of your own plight. You are not a secondling, and won't be welcome among the fourthlings since you placed obstacles in their king's path.
Don't believe this nonsense, scholar. The Free Folk are just a fairy tale that people tell themselves when they don't want to stick to the traditions. Just look what good it's done Geralda.
Geralda prepares to reply, but then she holds back.
Enough talk! She is dangerous, probably crazy. She attacked us, we should put an end to her.
It's what you call amnesia, memory loss, a tool often used in stage productions. We don't know what happened to her, and maybe she doesn't either. We can't just kill her.
We'll take her with us.
She's too dangerous just to let go.
This is what I did last time.
Well, we'll take her with us.
I haven't
Remove the
known
fetters.
if this is good or bad.
You nip any objection in the bud and turn to Geralda.
Listen, I don't know what has happened to you, but we are dwarves and we shouldn't fight against one another. We could do with your help.
The female dwarf seems just as surprised by your decision as your companions.
Thank you. I would be happy to accompany you. I am Geralda Bloodstone, of the Fourthling Kingdom. I'm sorry that I attacked you. It was a misunderstanding.
You realize that your decision doesn't please everyone. Boindil and Namora seem particularly upset. But they hold back, and you continue on your way, a slightly gloomy mood hanging over the group.
Level 8, level 8, level 8, level 8, level 9. Okay, so I got some new abilities. Bloody Scissors. And Leader's Will. You can have Dragon's Breath. We got 6 provisions only from that. Amazing. And we're going to save it here. Torbrock, I want to go there, but first to Sitten.
When you enter the pretty little village with its richly ornate houses and its temple to Palandial at its centre, you can see an angry mob some distance away. The villagers are hassling a young woman, insulting her and pushing her to the ground.
What? Force your way between the mob and the wrong woman.
You push your way through the crowd of people and stand in the way of the villagers.
What's going on here?
A man dressed in richly decorated vestments looks you up and down.
Palandial be with you, dwarf. It is none of your business, but this woman here is a thief. She and her henchmen have emptied the monastery's granary and were willing to abandon us to our fate.
That's a lie. We asked for help and these people turned us away. I came back to ask again.
To the woman, tell us what happened.
Tell us what happened.
The villagers grumble, but the priest gives the woman a chance to defend herself.
My name is Tavia. I was forced to flee Tabayin with my family when the perished land began to spread. My husband, we had to leave him behind.
The horror in the woman's eyes gives you a good idea as to what became of her husband.
No one accepted us in the north. There are too many refugees and everyone is scared. Queen Wei has offered land in Weyurn to anyone who will work hard for it. But what should we grow if no one will sell us grain? We offered a fair price, but Father Mallan...
She darts a scathing gaze at the priest.
He wanted double the amount.
What?
The priest glances briefly at the angry villagers. Then he replies in a firm voice.
It was a hard winter, and with the increasing frequency of orc attacks, we must think of ourselves first and foremost. Even we cannot help everyone.
The bystanders mutter in agreement.
Let the woman... we can investigate.
The accusations are serious, so let's get to the bottom of the matter to be completely sure.
We have no doubt that she did it.
The priest looks at the villagers standing around him, the lust for blood written in their faces.
On the other hand, before we do something we can't undo...
Dissatisfied murmuring grows, which the priest debates with mollifying gestures.
Search for your evidence. You there, lock this woman up in the guardhouse in the meantime.
The woman is taken into a squat building made of rough blocks of stone. The crowd slowly disbands.
Talk to Father Malon.
The priest is lost in thoughts, standing in front of the temple, as if he couldn't decide whether to go in or not.
What can you tell about Sitten?
I was wondering, what was here first, the temple or the village?
Ah, a keen eye. The temple is indeed much too big for such a small village. It was built on the foundations of an old stronghold when salt was found nearby. The village has grown over the years in the shadow of the temple. Good people live here, honest and pious children of Pelandiel.
He glances at the place where the woman was surrounded.
Why can't we just be left in peace?
How important is the stolen grain?
Supposing Tavia really did steal the grain and supplies, but only to save her family, would you turn a blind eye?
Pelandiel teaches generosity, but that too must have its boundaries. We cannot help everyone. At some point there won't be enough for us.
So, if you had sold the grain, the people of Seaton would have starved?
Maybe not. Not yet. But if we always give everything we have away...
No one is saying always, and no one is saying everything.
The priest shrugs his shoulders apologetically. He doesn't wish to spoil things with his flock. You nod goodbye, and the priest returns the gesture.
Enter the storehouse.
You enter the village's large storehouse. The ground floor of the two-story building is full of turnips, with large barrels and clay pots on the floor and on high shelves. Several villagers are carrying out stock-taking. They're being supervised by a weedy man who observes them with a grim expression and writes things on a wax tablet every now and then.
Observe this in a little longer.
Work is in full swing. The man with the wax tablet grumbles now and then in agreement when one of the peasants shouts out a number to him. It shouldn't take too much longer until they finish the inventory.
Go upstairs.
There are sacks piled up on top of one another on the first floor. They are most likely filled with different kinds of grain and, judging by the omnipresent white dust, flour.
Inspect the empty corner in dim light.
You walk towards the only area in the storeroom where you can see the floorboards. You hesitate as your boots slip on the floor, as if you're walking on mud.
Tungdil?
The Magister Technicus carefully observes the roof beams above the empty corner. He grabs at a beam and crumbles something between his fingers. You can't make out what it is, so you copy him and feel damp, rotten wood.
Oh my god.
It's very easy to pull away small pieces.
What are you doing here?
The man with the wax tablet is standing on the stairs. He sounds half angry, half shocked.
No one is allowed in here.
So? It's not allowed to be here. Why are you here? No. Do you realize that the roof here is leaky?
The rain has gotten here. The roof and the floor are damp.
Those savages. It wasn't enough that they steal from us. They had to damage the roof too. That was probably where they got in.
The wood didn't start to rot yesterday, good man.
True.
The steward's face turns bright red.
And you are the experts on such things, are you?
Assuming the roof here has been leaky for a long time, what would have happened to the grain in the sacks directly underneath? Wouldn't it have turned rotten?
The man wets his lips. His gaze darts around the room.
The roof was fine. I'll have it repaired. And now, get out of here.
The steward angrily blocks off all further attempts at talking to him, and even when you threaten him with Father Malon, it doesn't have the desired effect. The father trusts in him, he says, and he's always been a devout follower. The heavy door of the storehouse closes behind you, and you hear a bolt sliding into place from the inside.
Oh god. Enter the guardhouse.
You enter the guardhouse, and before the guards know, Boindil and Boendal have caught them up in a friendly conversation. Shielded from the view of the guards, you exchange a few words with the suspect without being disturbed.
Where are you people? Where are the spoils?
Where have you taken the grain and supplies?
I don't know anything about grain or supplies. Apart from the fact that we could do with both, I'm telling you, I am innocent.
Why did you come back to... Oh yeah, he's just told us. Tell us what happened.
We won't let anyone do anything to you, but if we are going to help you, you will have to tell us the truth.
The woman looks you in the face, then her head sinks, and when she looks back up, she has tears in her eyes.
Please, I just want to go back to my family. I don't know what happened.
Tungdil.
You feel sympathy towards the woman. You raise your hand to silence Rodario and nod to the woman to continue talking.
We asked for grain and were full of hope when we saw the well-filled granary. But we hadn't reckoned on the malice of the people here.
A slow, ironic clap sounds from behind you. Confused, you turn around to face Rodario.
Bravo, my dear, with tears and everything. Tough luck that a master of the art of acting is present.
What?
None of what she said corresponds with the truth, Tungdil. She is lying and trying to deceive us. Not completely talentless for an amateur.
You expect the woman to deny everything, but when she overcomes her amazement, she spits in the actor's face.
And what if I am? I would do it all again. The people here have more than they need and my people are starving. Is that fair?
Why did you come back after you stole the grain and supplies?
Why did you come back here after stealing the grain and supplies?
We didn't steal them. We paid for them. A reasonable price, just not to Father Malin.
Oh, I see.
You had help.
He promised us 3 dozen sacks of grain. When we opened the sacks in our hideout, we realised that most of the grain was rotten. He thought he'd get away with it.
The woman looks around wearily.
And by the looks of things, he has.
I think I know who your accomplice was.
Morris the steward offered you the grain, didn't he?
What does that matter? I've no proof it was him. And even if I did, if I admit that we have the stuff, I'll be hanging from a tree by this evening and my children will starve. I beg you, let me go. We bought the grain and the supplies. Perhaps he wasn't allowed to sell it to us. But we paid. And with a little seed we can sow, at least some of us have a chance of surviving the year.
I would find the decision a lot easier if you hadn't lied to us.
How can I trust you? You lied.
Who wouldn't do everything to offer their children a future? Lying is the very least.
If you return the grain, Father Malin might show clemency.
You've stolen, no matter how you put it. But perhaps Father Malin will show clemency if you return the grain.
Clemency for me and a death sentence for my family. Never.
You will stay locked up until I have found a solution.
Disenchanted by the course the discussion has taken, you shake your head and leave the guardhouse.
Talk to Father Malin.
The priest is lost in thoughts, standing in front of the temple, as if he couldn't decide whether to go in or not.
The roof of the granary is leaky.
The roof of the granary is leaky. We saw some rotten wooden planks.
Again? Morris only had the roof repaired last summer.
Did he? If he didn't, some of the grain would have got damp and rotten.
Out of the question. Morris would have reported that. He checks the grain once a month and there were no complaints.
The priest has absolutely no doubt in what he is saying, often a sign that someone hasn't thought things over.
True.
You nod goodbye.
We have to go there, but we might as well... Oh, what? They're going that way now? Let's go to Torbrock.
When you enter the strongly fortified mountain village, you see a large group of miners standing around a shaft in heated discussion.
I really saw them, I swear!
A young man in mining clothes defiantly stares at an older man who is a good head taller than him.
Even if you did, smashing the lift hoist, it would have been better to have not sent the cage down again until we cleared this thing up.
Is there a problem?
The older man, perhaps a foreman, is so angry that he hardly seems to have realised that he's talking to a dwarf.
Mika here says that he saw orcs in the mine, and he smashed the lift hoist to bits. The cage has crashed to the bottom of the shaft. How are we supposed to work now?
Perhaps we can help with the repairs.
Can we help you somehow?
Help? Well, we'll have to repair the hoist, and we need a new cage.
The foreman turns to a man next to him for answers. He's just as muscular, with dirty, calloused hands and an angular face.
It will take at least 2 weeks, but we don't need any help, unless you can speed up time.
I'll need 1 day. 2 at the most if there are problems.
The foreman looks aghast at the Technicus, unsure whether he's joking or not.
1 day? Have you got any idea how...
Fergus is the most talented Magister Technicus in Girdlegard. And anyway, what have you got to lose? Let him help.
As long as he doesn't get in my way,
The worker shrugs his shoulders.
why not?
Okay. You want 30 provisions. We need some food.
Good. Then we'll help you. But we would like provisions for it. 30 rations.
Sure. If you pull it off, the provisions are yours. You really trust in your skills, don't you? Mika, give him a hand.
Fergus immediately gets to work, examining the hoist. After a few moments, he sends Mika off with a list of tools and spare parts, and explains to you how to build the cage, while he takes care of the hoist's rustic mechanism. After half a day, the cage is operational again, but Fergus is still busy with the hoist. You just hear him muttering.
So far there is no automatic brake in case the ropes snap, but it shouldn't be too hard to fit one.
So he's a scientific engineer. Fit an automatic brake system. Better safe than sorry.
Fergus decides to fit the automatic brake, but it takes more time than expected. Building the hoist from scratch would have been simple, but the upgrade turns out to be complicated. In the end, it takes 2 days until the lift is operational again. After the work is done, you report to the foreman.
You've kept your part of the deal, we'll keep ours. Take the provisions for your journey.
Look what the trade has an offer. More provisions, yes. Another healing potion? Sure. Find us where the orcs in the mine came from.
You travel down into the mine in the repaired lift. Mika shows you the place where he saw the orcs, and you follow the winding gallery. After 1,000 paces, you stopped counting, and only after several hours do you reach an exit. There's a stench of tallow in the air. The tunnel leads directly into a huge orc camp, which blocks the pass into Snowdale Valley.
Right there.
If you attacked from here, you'd have the element of surprise on your side.
I could go and take a look and perhaps improve our chances for an attack.
You remember how the actor had transformed himself into Lot Yonin and Nudin in Mifidania. You certainly wouldn't bet against him being able to walk through the orc camp unnoticed.
I'll come with you. If I stay in the shadows, they won't see me.
The actor nods gratefully.
Oh, this is good.
I'll come too. I also know how to keep myself hidden.
Nomura wants to object, but you are quicker.
Thank you, Geralda. 2 more eyes and ears would be helpful on such a mission.
Alright, time to infiltrate the camp.
Listen, try to sabotage their defenses, and if you can safely take out a couple of guards, then do it. But don't take any big risks. Come back here if things get too hairy.
Nomura and Rodario rejoin you without any particular urgency. The infiltration was a complete success. No one detected the 2 of them.
The 2 of them? What about she? Also, why can't I choose other heroes? I guess we can go to the tavern first.
The group isn't overly friendly towards Geralda, and this evening she's sitting once again apart from the others. You ask yourself what you can do to break the ice when you see that she has a phial in her hand. The phial is wrapped around with silver wire and has a snap lock. The liquid in it is black. Geralda opens the lid and takes a big swig. As she puts down the bottle, a smile flits across her face, followed by a short expression of deep satisfaction. It is the first time that you have seen a positive emotion on the face of the somber dwarf.
What's in the bottle? Medicine?
Is that medicine?
No, it's... I don't know either. If I don't drink it, I have a longing for it. It gets stronger and stronger until it... until I can't stand it anymore. When I drink it, the longing disappears, and I feel rested and strong.
And when the phial's empty?
I don't know. I don't know where I got the drink from, let alone what it is. But if I don't drink it, Rackers, give me strength. I think I would go crazy or die.
Geralda plays with the phial, lost in her thoughts, as if she were trying to remember where she saw it for the first time. A two-storey tavern sits on the corner of a crossroads. The snow around the building has been cleared away, and a warm light is coming from inside. The sign above the door reads, Minstrel Castle.
Minstrel Castle? That sounds promising.
Oh? Look at the surroundings.
The old building has nothing in common with a castle. It seems rather nondescript. A simple tavern for simple people.
Enter a tavern.
Finally! Time for ale! My throat is completely parched.
As much as I hate agreeing with you, I too can hardly wait.
You enter the tavern with Bavragor and Boindil in front. On first impression, the interior is as inconspicuous as the outside. But when you take a closer look, you spot a couple of paintings of minstrels in front of a castle, a small stage that, judging by the dust, is only very rarely used, and a lute hanging on the wall behind the bar. There are not very many guests on the ground floor, perhaps a dozen, and most of them belong to a group of mercenaries who have retreated into the far corner. You sit at a table, and after a while you are brought the ale that Boindil has ordered.
Talk to a group of armed humans. No, go to the bar and talk to the landlady.
You go to the bar where the landlady is working and sit on a stool. The landlady, a stout, middle-aged woman with long hair tied in a ponytail, looks up briefly but says nothing.
Minstrel Castle, that's a pretty name.
Say, why is the tavern called Minstrel Castle? It doesn't look much like a castle.
Oh, you don't know the legend, dwarf.
One of the guests next to you at the bar takes up your question.
There was a castle here once. No one knows its name anymore, so everyone just calls it Minstrel Castle. Once upon a time, a king lived in that castle. He had many subjects and an enchanting queen. But one day a young minstrel came along and sang of wonderful far-off lands, and the subjects began to complain about their own lives. So the king sent for the singer to hear for himself. He came and sang a wonderful love song, and the king began to be scared. He thought that the minstrel wanted to steal away his queen. Without flinching, he drew his sword and struck the boy down. His father heard of this. He was himself a singer, and so he went to the king and played a terrible song, a curse. The king was to vanish in silence, and no one was to remember his name.
Oh, God.
And that's what happened. No one remembers the name of the king or his castle. Make of it what you will. The story's certainly well known enough in the area to give Arin its name.
What do you have to offer? More provisions? An even better talisman? Oh my God. $500. Oh. Well, I could upgrade. Let's do that. Now I have 264. This one costs 850. If I sell this, I get 600. Oh, just enough. Look at that, I'm upgrading. Too bad I can't have both of them. But you know, at least I have the better versions.
You nod at the landlady as you slip off the bar stool, and she nods back.
Talk to a group of armed humans.
Good day, gentlemen.
Get lost, Groundling.
Be quiet!
The good dwarf may want to make use of our services if you stop insulting him.
The mercenary immediately becomes sheepish and concentrates on his tankard of beer.
My name is Gurnham, the leader of this troop.
Okay.
Pleased to meet you, Mr. Gurnham. I am Tungdil Goldhand. I actually do wish to inquire after your services against an orc camp in the west.
The leader of the mercenaries looks at you, trying to size you up.
You and your companions look as though you know how to handle your weapons. Must be a damn big orc camp.
Otherwise, we wouldn't ask for your help. So, are you in?
Why not? 500 gold coins for me and 9 of my men, in advance.
You go back to the mercenaries. They look up briefly before turning back to their drinks.
So, have you made your decision, dwarf?
Let Namora negotiate with the mercenaries.
You send Namora to try and haggle down the price of the mercenaries.
If it will help against the orcs. Hey guys, we need your help with a couple of orcs. Name your price.
The men look up, and as they see who is standing in front of them, their faces brighten.
We wouldn't take money from someone like you, sweetheart. I'm sure you can show your appreciation in other ways.
Namora says nothing. She stares into the man's eyes, and he falls silent.
Oh.
He seems to shrink, and to have lost the capacity to talk. Finally, Namora looks away and turns to go.
All right then, I'll find someone else.
Wait, stay here, darling.
The young mercenary jumps up and tries to hold Namora back by the arm, but she sidesteps quickly, and he grasps at thin air. He trips over Namora's foot, which just happens to be in the right place, and clatters to the floor.
Oh, come on, boys. Don't you know how to treat a lady?
The leader of the mercenaries smiles at Namora, revealing several missing teeth.
For such a beautiful woman like you, we'll make a very special price. For 250 gold pieces, we'll demonstrate what we're capable of.
You nod at the mercenary.
Okay,
You go.
Why don't they have any money? At least I have to be able to afford the mercenaries, right?
You nod. You go.
Okay.
Here is your payment. 250 gold coins.
You place a pouch containing the counted coins on the table in front of Gurnham.
We will seize the orc camp with you, and then perhaps celebrate a bit?
He grins over at Namora, who manages with some effort to avoid killing the mercenary.
Oh god. Leave the tavern.
Bavragor and Boindil, who are absorbed in a drinking competition, have to be practically dragged out of the tavern. But in the end, you are able to continue your journey.
Okay. So we got some men that can help us. We're supposed to go there, but we probably should destroy the... We could go around there, I guess. Well, we can destroy the orcs this way. At least I hope so. But should we go here?
You arrive at an empty jetty on Lake Anteria. You can see several fishing boats on the lake, and there's a small village on the other shore.
Ah, Pulbrook. What an idyllic little place. And then there's the miller's daughter.
A what? Call the fisherman over.
Hey there. Would you be able to ferry us over to the other side?
At first, you think the fisherman hasn't heard you, but then he turns around and heads towards the shore. When the boat has almost reached you, the fisherman calls back.
Dwarves, are you lost? Oh well, whatever. I am Samuel. If you wish to cross, it'll cost you. Food for 10 days or 20 gold, whichever you prefer.
You want to go there now? I guess we can go there now.
You give Samuel the gold, and after a long discussion with the dwarves in the group, you follow him onto the boat. The dwarves literally leap out of the boat as soon as you reach dry land.
We could have died. I hope it was worthwhile, Scholar.
Oh, what? There's nothing here? We have no gold.
As on the previous evening, Bavragor sits apart from the others. But tonight, he waves you over.
Smeralda, my sister. You want to know what happened, right?
You nod and sit down.
She followed Boindle into battle. We tried to talk her out of it, but she was as unyielding as a mountain. Then came the day when the High Pass was attacked.
Bavragor drinks from his liquor.
He killed her.
Oh my god.
Blinded by the frenzy of battle, he thought she was one of the enemy. I can never forgive him. He killed my sister. Could you?
You inevitably remember the loss of Lot Yonan, Frala, and her children. You remain sitting in silence, each of you deep in thought. Boendal approaches, having either heard you or guessing what you are talking about.
His fierce life forge is a curse. He thought the Orcs had robbed him of his love, and the ire came over him. Sometimes he calls her name in his dreams. Oh, he'd never admit it, but he suffers just like Bavragor. He too loved her.
The stonemason doesn't react, so you and Boendal go back to the others by the fire.
Well, we're here. Can we go back?
The fishing village seems as busy as ever. Samuel, the fisherman, is working on his boat again and looks up as you approach.
Yeah, sure.
You give the provisions to Samuel, and after a long discussion with the...
We could have died!
My dogs are bothering me every time I talk. I think I'm talking to them. So I'm going to leave it here for now. They most likely needed my attention. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.